Hey, good morning. Kind of overslept a little bit and did not do the recording. Now I guess we'll probably get that cranked up on next week, so that way I do not leave you without a dope little video for y'all to go to. I'm gonna go ahead and break everything down that I do in a normal BYTTT sense and get y'all the information. So let's go ahead and get started. We got ourselves NQ after making a massive move to the upside and getting to that 24,000. If you remember earlier in this week, I was letting a lot of y'all know that the 24,000 was very attainable and very possible, and we could see that come to fruition. If you were able to take this play, especially after the rebalancing of this area here where they were really trying to drop the market and they failed to do so, this should be a very, very good and profitable situation for you. So let's go ahead and keep this going. Actually, before I leave NQ, I don't think we're going to hold 24,000, but we got contract expiration, so a lot of things can happen towards the end of the week. So just bear with yourself as far as anything. If you got solid profits, great time to go ahead and lock it in, especially if your contracts are expiring in September. If you got things that's further out, you might want to be in your position just a little bit longer, maybe even carry it into September. I do have some December stuff and some January stuff that I'm very curious if we can hold. Of course, very light leverage at this point, and I'm just making sure I lock in the profits, and that's my relative plan as we are trying to get back above that 24,000. As we go into the next part, we got oil, and I warned y'all then this could have been a nice little move to the downside if you did play this. They're trying to get this fair value gap. We had a nice little solid bounce towards the end of the day. I do think it's a production issue at this point, so we're going to see, do they lower production and they just go ahead and raise the prices? But that's going to be all predicated on how the government gets the subsidies in place, because you already know a lot of these governments are basically doing handshake deals and everything else, saying, hey, we got to keep the prices low for our consumers from China, all of them, everywhere. America's no different. So when we're looking at this in its totality, it's very, very important you understand that this level can continue to bounce and we could get a nice little rocket to the upside. This is a very massive order block. If we go over to gold, this was the channel that I drew out, and I had a feeling that we'll probably stay right here. With the consolidation that's happening in the market, it's very, very possible that we're just going to stay in this sense for the most part. So just bear with the market. We're going to go ahead and figure out our way as far as gold. And if you look at silver, you can see why we're pulling back. As silver pulls back, you're going to get gold that's going to get that same type of reaction. But when silver starts to get to that $40 level, which I think is attainable, not saying it's going to happen, but I think it's attainable. Remember, I'm not a fiduciary. If you want more advice and you want to go ahead and ask more questions, talk to a fiduciary advisor. They'll break things a lot better than I can when it's all said and done. I love my charts and I love what I see, so we'll see what happens. And we can see that this gold is just consolidating as it tries to take out the bearish imbalances. And again, silver, this order block is probably what's going to hold it. So if it can't hold this order block, then we're not going to get to that $40 level. Okay. All right. So British pound, and this is probably why we're rocking off the way we are. The British pound, I warned y'all, right? I warned y'all when we got to this level. Let me take a step back. I warned y'all that this part of the rejection point was because a lot of that Brexit conversation was in here. They found a way to rebalance themselves ever since. They're starting to really hold on to their economy. So I love to see what London does with its currency. And if we go over here, this was a perfect textbook head and shoulders, and we take our 50% of the mark. We are breaking the pivot. We have penetrated it. We have disrespected the point. If we close above it, then we get a full change of character. But right now, the structure is weak, and this thing looks very bullish. Look for more upside, which is going to put pressure on the dollar. And that's why I got some Decembers, and my Septembers are around where they are. And here is what I was warning y'all about Bitcoin. And you can kind of see it. Look at this. This is a nice little move where it kind of pulled itself right on back to that downside. Hey, good morning. Go get your shoes ready. Go get your shoes. I'm coming. All right.
Do I always need water?
And go wash your face. I'm coming. Let me finish my recording.
Do I always need to drink water?
Again, yes. But I have to finish my recording. All right, go get ready. Thank you. All right, so for the most part, everything that we're seeing here is basically letting us know that this break of structure that's right here is trying to change whatever situation. Actually, this is external. I just remember we kind of made those highs. Yeah, we already made the high. So this is what I was curious about, if we can get to 125, because we're getting closer and closer. Let me get rid of this line so you can see what I mean. When we spike through here, it lets me know that the 125 is going to be much more attainable. Where do we catch it? I think we're going to catch it around that 119, 120. I think this is that break and retest. Let's see if that actually holds for Bitcoin, and we're going to be really riding this trend as they go ahead and get back above here, destroying these pivots and getting them out the way, which we already did. And now we've established a brand new pivot, which is this area here, and they're trying to see if they can hold that. So just keep that in mind. Great structural change. This is the Russell. Knew there was going to be some follow through. Shout out to those that probably played this to the upside. This is probably going to continue into that 2400 if all things stays equal and the British pound continues to put pressure on the dollar, allowing for the dollar to suppress and making the market rally. And then the last one is the infamous dollar. It didn't go nowhere. It didn't go nowhere. And this is where the contrarian position of my head comes into play. If y'all remember, there was, in Tom and Jerry, there was the good guy on one side and the bad guy on the other side. It's like, hey, you do realize we're bullish. The market's been going on to the upside for the longest. And then over here is like, have you seen the dollar? The dollar is trying to tell you a lot. And this is the perfect example of that. We should be breaking right on through this trend line. And then the momentum of that makes people get rid of their currency as quickly as possible. Start throwing into all types of things like your companies, your commodities, and any type of future speculation that is there, because they know when the dollar recovers, they can later convert that back into cash, and that's when they start to realize their gains. Until that happens, guess what ends up happening? We're going to continue to get that drop. So this consolidation is probably just a prelude to a kiss. Is it a kiss goodbye, or is it a kiss to a nice little pop to the upside? All right, go ahead and pull out a pen and a pad. I'm going to go ahead and give you the news that is going to be coming in hot. And the first thing I want to break down is the current, oh my God, and this is why I do recordings, the economic calendar, right? The economic calendar looks like this. Nice little movement that we got from the price action yesterday, but then it was stagnant towards the afternoon. Why? Because we have 830 jobless claims, we got PPI, and this is out of sorts. This is not its normal position. It should have been released on Wednesday. I think they allowed them to focus on oil inventory. So PPI, pay attention here. There's something that is going to be in here that's going to really either rock the market to the upside or literally cripple that upside move. So now we got a couple of Feds that's going to be speaking at 2 and 4:30. Just keep that in mind. Mortgage rate's going to be released 6.6, 5.7. That's what it looks like so far. In these auctions, they're not as strong as the other auctions that I was telling you about a couple days ago. If you really think about it, around 11:30 is when the market kind of got stagnant. Why is that? Let's go ahead and refresh that because I don't have the updated interest rates. Let's go ahead and clear that up. Get out my way. And that interest rate yesterday for the week, it's lower. So guess what? People are not going to go into the bonds. That's just what it is. Pay attention to that. It's going to tell you a lot. All right, so I already know I am a big pro to the CNBC. I love what I see over there, and we're going to look for some contrarian positions in this. Let's see what type of type. Of course, they have me logged out. That would be too easy as I'm going into everything I need to go into. Oh, okay. I guess I figured it out. All right, here we go. All right, so what do we have? Oh my God, nope. I won't. I will not. Okay, you know what? Let me just put it up here. Okay, if anyone knows me well, the first thing that you will always know is I avoid anything Chinese to the best of my ability. I had a bad experience with tickers like NEO, Pinduoduo, and Baba, right? These are like my Achilles here. I just don't know how to pick. Now, mind you, I did play Futu, which was a little bit of a shocker that I later on found out that it was a Chinese ticker. So it kind of really threw my numbers off. But then again, I didn't know it was a Chinese company, so maybe I just should not know who they are. Anyways, let's go ahead and look at Li Auto, LI. All right. So this one is really trying to make a nice little move to its upside. Kind of got a nice little base here. Let's go ahead and look at the weekly. The weekly, it looks like we got a nice little base here. Maybe JP Morgan downgrades Li Auto as Chinese EV competition ramps up. Now, here's the funny thing about it. Could it be coming down? It's been stagnant. Is there more competition? Everybody's getting into the EV space, but this looks like it's trying to find a way to pop up as far as this day. That was a nice little reversal when it's all said and done. So if we can continue to the upside and get a nice little break here, then it probably invalidate this. And you already know me, I am one that does the contrarian type of move. When they release this, I tend to look at the opposite. So I'm very curious on the reaction of the market today, even though it's down pre-market. So just keep an eye on Li Auto. All right, what else we got? You know what? I do agree. Well, no, I don't know if I want to. I don't want to scare the crap out of y'all. So we're gonna go ahead and leave that as such. Let's go with this one. Let's just go with it. So if y'all already know, Berkshire Hathaway has been beat up very badly. But if you know anything, you can't keep a good company down. Look at Apple, for example. Like Apple was consolidating, couldn't hold 213, and look where it is today. It's just those little things. So let's go ahead and take a nice little peek at Berkshire Hathaway. I go with Berk B on this regard because y'all cannot afford Berk A. 478, nice little bounce. Looks like a morning star right here on this weekly. Ooh. All right, we got like another day and a half before this actually pans out. And we got a nice little, I won't say falling wedge or what. All right, so if we could break above this 200, we're already up pre-market. If we could break above this 200, maybe that's going to be the start. So where would they target though? You know what? Let's go weekly because this is something that you would have to be on a long-term hold. So okay, I got a nice little target here. So the first thing is we already know that this was a weak selling point in itself. They kind of really pushed the market down at these levels. Oh, this is. Okay. All right. I think I got something for y'all. So this area right here, right, looks very much wrong one, right? Lots of bearish, and of course you're gonna be completely off on your settings. Let's see what happened here. Visibility. Okay, what just happened here? Okay, maybe my extension is not on. Hold on. Yep, that's why. The extension is not on. That's what I want. That's what I want to see. That's what happens when you use the wrong template. And this is why we do recordings. All right, so maybe I'll make some cuts and be like, these are the bloopers. All right, so right here, this is a bearish fair value gap when it's all said and done. We attempted to get back above here, and then you got psychological level of 500. So I think that's what they're looking for. 478, did we rebalance? I would say they would have had to really take out the bulls over at this level, and that did not happen. And this is what I was kind of aiming for, but of course this is January 2025, and this is probably going to be deemed the laggard of all the companies that's around, because during April it should have popped up, but guess what everybody did? This was Berkshire Hathaway. It dumped. So while tech was running, Berkshire has been, could there be a tech sector rotation into here? Technicians take Berkshire Hathaway is primed for a comeback. Now, I won't say that this is a seldom news for the most part. I do know it's been beat up quite a bit, and this is not normal for Berkshire Hathaway. I know he has to assign a predecessor, not predecessor, a successor, and that successor needs to be known, right? I would love if he went ahead and got somebody that's a bulldog with Tim Cook vibes, like a Jensen Wang. You know what I'm saying? Like someone strong that can go ahead and lead this behemoth while they learn. So, of course, it's different sectors. I'm not saying he's going to be the guy, but someone that has that same ideology, no nonsense. Because I know when Warren Buffett was building this company, he was coming in like a pit bull. I'm saying lock jawed, and he's like, I'm going to win. I really do believe that. So if you could get somebody that's successor just like that, that will be a great take. Morningstar on the weekly could be a good little move to the upside. I think the target will be $500. To be honest, it'll be further because this is a gap down. But if this is true and the successor is named and we can know exactly what is in their filings, I think they've released their filings. I'm going to have to dig and find out. If you find out what their holdings are and you're happy with it, this could be a real pivot going into the area right before Santa Rally. And then they get to the 500, retest, build a base, and then they finally get back to their regular scheduled program. I like this, but it's not ready now. That's the best way to kind of say this. All right, so let's go ahead and get into some of these earnings. I already told y'all that this morning there was going to be AAP. It's one that I don't know what's going on with them. Yeah, they found some more money for shareholders, but it's a $61 stock. I don't think they're going to get AutoZone anytime soon, but, at the end of the day, wishful dreams can happen. Maybe a retest to the 200 on the weekly to $100, but that's as far as it's going to go. It does pay dividends, which is okay, but it's not solid, and I would like to see what the chart does in the next couple weeks. Probably low W after a W. Interesting. All right, next one is Deere. Deere is going to be reporting their earnings as well. They went ahead and found an extra 17 cents per share. $5 million. Okay, cool. Found they just do their job, but it looked like the market is starting to shave off their profits. It might get picked up again when the ex-dividend date, which is probably going to be towards the end of the month. So just look for a base to be found. I do think that we are sitting on top of an order block, generally speaking, when it comes down to where Deere is. So a nice little push to this upside is probably what we're going to be looking for. Actually, I just realized, let me go ahead and get rid of the news. Let's go ahead and get even further into it. All right, so what else do we have? So earnings for tomorrow, you already know it is fumes. There's nothing much. Hence the reason why I kind of overslept, because I've been working a lot. Let's go with Flower Foods. And I'm trying. It's been beat up. It's down to the downside. If anything, there is more upside than the low. To say anything positive to this is that in the next month or so, if this earnings is sound, it should be okay. But last quarter, where's your financials? What happened? It pays a dividend, which is heavy, but could this be one of those where eventually they're going to cut dividends? Because they've been on a downward decline for a long period of time. So let's keep that in mind. All right, so let's just do a quick little recap on some of the tickers in my earnings cycle. Tesla had a nice little pop, but you can kind of see that order block is tough, and we're trying to find a way to get above that 339. I don't think they're going to get it. Netflix looks like this because I think a pullback was necessary, but it's already back up pre-market, so I think people are getting back into that one. Let's go into my did I get in the second one? Yep, second one. Let's talk about Reddit. Looks freaking crazy. I thought this thing was going to pull back something, but I should have took that trade. I had an alert that I was going to take a trade, and I was like, this thing's been running for a while. Maybe I need to go ahead and calm this down. And I did not. It is what it is. Snow. I said snow. Snow is in that cybersecurity space. I'm starting to look at that and see what happens there. Palantir is just going to give you a nice little tease, knowing that it's not going to really come down. We're going to see what happens there. Oh, Wayfair. This thing is not playing at all. I knew it was closer to its bottom than the top. I didn't think it was going to rock off like this. Solid earnings and everything else. And this thing is no chill. I should have held on to my Wayfarers just a little bit longer. Upstart is a disappointment. I thought we would have got to like $100. But again, the buy now, pay here. A buy now, pay later space is struggling. So this is what we're going to get. And I'll give you one more. What do we got? Oh, Target. Let's go with Target. Target is in the middle of trying to find its identity. This thing can turn it into a bear flag really fast, but I think it consolidated way too long. And I think those that are bears, that took bearish positions from here to here, and those that try to keep shorting, they're getting fatigued. And I think we're going to get a nice little short squeeze to push to the upside, especially that the daily is pushed right back up above its level. Nike is Nike. This thing looks kind of crazy. I think they came back with a retracement. I want to see if it can continue to this upside, but this might be one of those Santa rally type of moves. Dividends is going to be paid out, so wait for September 2nd and then make a decision. All right, that said, again, this is going to be completely unedited, and it's going to be all left field and everything else. I do apologize in advance. I'll probably chop it up inside of the YouTube editor when I get the chance, but to be honest, I just wanted to get you the information. For those that are loyal, don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and the bell button. Tomorrow is going to be the first day of after the trade, so there will not be a BYTTT tomorrow morning. There's no news. I just gave you what the earnings is. That's it, and there's barely anything other than Michigan sentiment. So after the trades, going to be after the market close, you should get that release somewhere around 4 to 5 o'clock. It's going to be all video. It's going to be all edited, and I look forward to getting that to you. And also, if you want to be part of my whole entire crew, I do mindsets on Saturday. I do Get Rich or Fit Trying, where you can ask me questions and develop a better thesis to be much more successful in your trades. If you want to be part of that, by all means, go to JD_the_great on Instagram, or go ahead and make a comment like, hey, I would like to be a part of it, and I will go ahead and send you the information. But I want to say thank you very much for being part of the subscribers. I'm very close to getting to that 500, so your support really pushes this channel to do much better. Let me know why I can do better, and I will see y'all next week for BYTTT, tomorrow for After the Trades. Yeah, have a great day. Bye-bye.